Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. It is I, Dr. Thaddeus Rusty Venture, and this is an intro to True Blue Riffcast with Jeremy and Dave. Riffing about riff tracks and bad movies, such as The Godfather, Citizen Kane, and The Devil Wears Prada. Rusty. Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but those are all good movies. In fact, great movies. Well, James, did you ever hear of a little expression called eye of the beholder? Well, yes, but there's such a thing as truth, and you're not being very truthful. I disagree. What is truth? What is true blue? What is a riffcast? These are questions. They are questions. Look, why don't we just try a second take? All right. Hello, it is I, Dr. Thaddeus Rusty Venture, and this is an intro to True Blue Riffcast. Riffing about bad movies, such as Back to the Future, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and Cannonball Run. No, I can't accept this. I mean, I'm not going to say Cannonball Run is great, but it's certainly good of its genre. And what genre is that? Film Twitter? What? Look, don't call me that, first of all. Rollicking, frolicking 70s road comedy, I guess? Fair enough, James. Fair enough. All right, well, I think that's enough intros. Perhaps we should do an outro now. What do you say? Indeed. Thank you for coming to True Blue Riffcast. Sit back, relax, enjoy the cast.
Thank you, Dr. Venture and James Urbaniak, for that intro. This is the True Blue Riffcast. And first of all, before we tell you what's going on, I need to apologize for the length of time that it took me to edit this one. But as you'll hear later, Dave does say this one was going to be a bear, and it was a gigantic 800-pound grizzly bear. So with that out of the way, let's catch everybody up, Dave.
What you're about to hear is it needs a little bit of explanation. Jeremy and I were kind of sort of wrapping up our discussion about Invasion of the Bee, or whatever damn movie we were talking about just now.
Yeah, Invasion of the Bee Girls.
It was that long ago, I don't remember. And suddenly, I start getting like this weird noise in my ears, and it's like somebody I don't recognize. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, Jeremy, do you hear that? And Jeremy's like, no, you're crazy. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like you really can't hear that. So I switched over because Zencaster makes me use a different stupid browser now. And I go there, and it's just like, I see like all this. I see an extra audio bar, and it says MJ Elliott, and there's Matthew J. Elliott's camera right there. And I was like, Matthew J. I'm not sure what's happening, but I think Matthew J. Elliott is trying to crash the podcast. And Jeremy's like, Dave, you're crazy. That's not possible. I don't see it.
It wasn't showing up for me.
Look, dude. Yeah, so it took us about, I don't know how long. It felt like a lot longer. And here, I'm gonna turn my camera off. There we go. It took me it took us it felt like a lot longer than it did.
It was like 10 or 15 minutes, I think, to get it situated.
Yeah, where we're just like, no, but it felt like an hour trying to get into it. But he could hear us. We couldn't hear him. Jeremy couldn't see him. He didn't have any evidence of what was going on at all. Like, what did you think? Did you think that I was did you think that I was like pranking you?
No, I believed you, because I did send him a link after we started recording, and I just said,
you have to tell me.
I just said,
things.
hey, if you're bored or you're not busy, you can come crash the podcast. But he wasn't online at the time. Like, he didn't even have like the little indicator wasn't there, so I didn't even think he was going to get it. And then he started showing up.
He did,
and yeah, I just figured I would let it be a nice surprise, like actually somebody crashing the podcast. And that's what happened.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what you're about to hear. And here we go. We are welcoming Matthew J. Elliott onto the podcast.
Hello there. What happened today was that in England, I received a large selection of audio cassettes of Elliott Gould reading the works of Raymond Chandler. And I have been gradually converting them to digital during the course of the day. And this is absolutely true. And that's what I was doing when I saw that I had received an invite from Jeremy. And I thought, I'll get in on this. But of course, it was still running while I was trying to talk to you guys. So that was why you could hear me, but you couldn't hear me.
I think that was the reason why we were having all those audio problems.
Yeah.
But Matthew, thank you so much for invading the True Blue Riffcast. We just got finished.
My absolute pleasure.
We literally, this is crazy. We literally just wrapped up our discussion about Invasion of the B-Girls, and about how we thought that it was really good. And I said that I would sum up this movie by describing it as 70s boobs bodies, because that's like all I can remember about it.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. They saved a lot on costume.
So how would you describe Invasion of the B-Girls?
You know what? I was very hesitant about doing this one. It was Ian that suggested it, and frankly, the further I got into it, the more I thought, I don't know about this. But it actually, I think it's worked out. It's been one of our most popular, certainly, and one of our most successful, I think. So, yeah, I'm very happy with the way that it's turned out, and I think that it's a funny one. The weird thing is, we give a lot of shit to the guy who plays the fat sheriff.
Who
also played the fat sheriff in Hangar 18. But the truth is, he's probably the best actor in the thing.
Yeah,
he's pretty good at playing the part that he is. And
he wasn't
there. We've also got one of the actors from Horror on Tiki Island, which was one of the very last cinematic Titanic.
Yeah.
She went under the name of Beverly Hills at that time. She's Beverly something in this. Also, we got one of the now the main B lady in it, the one who we say looks like Jacqueline Smith, but actually only kind of does. Now she to be on, was it Wheel of Fortune or was it Price is Right? I think she was a Price is Right girl.
Interesting.
It's possible because, I mean, I'll have to watch that documentary about that guy that cheated real bad on it again to see if she's in it.
Yeah.
But have you heard about that? There's a documentary about a dude that cheated on The Price is Right.
I haven't. No.
Yeah, it's excellent. Check that out. But anyway.
All right. Well, we have some of the stories over here.
Jeremy, so do you have any follow-up questions for Matthew J. Elliott about Invasion of the B-Girls? Because I do have one, but I want it because I tend to dominate things. But Jeremy Pluta, do you have any questions for Matthew J. Elliott?
For Invasion of the B-Girls, I just want to know how they had credits left at the end of the film.
That is incredible. It's amazing, isn't it? There's so damn much. Who's being credited? Who wants to take the blame for this thing? That's what's amazing to me. We got to a point 2 minutes in, and that has to be it. And nope, here's some more.
Not the writer.
And Nicholas Meyer. I mean, a friend of mine is a friend of Nicholas Meyer.
Yeah, Nicholas Meyer wrote this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even want to take credit for writing this turd.
Well, why is it?
Yeah, we talked about it. He said, no, I don't want nothing to do with this because it's garbage.
Well, thanks for stopping by, even if it was a mess at first.
I'm grateful for the invite. I'm sorry that I caused all that confusion with Elliott Gould. I hadn't realized it was plugged in and it was still going. I was just onto the
it's okay.
The final stretch. I just want to say what's really weird with the package of the Elliott Gould channels that I got was I also got this book called Fetal Attraction by Kathy Lett.
Oh no!
It seems to be entirely unrelated to anything Raymond Chandler. It says on the back of it, Aussie Madeline Wolfe has left her home, her surfboard, and hemisphere for the new man in her life, Alexander Drake, undisputed king of the TV jungle, who gives the best cunnilingus this side of a detachable shower nozzle. He's also the kind of bloke who goes through the tunnel of love holding his own hand. By the time Maddie discovers it's not just Alex's feet, but his entire body that's made of clay,
Whoa.
She's taken a pregnancy test and failed. Will Alex chicken out of his obligation to his egg? Set amongst London's literati, glitterati, and cliterati, Kathy Lett's brilliant new novel goes straight for the jocular vein. So, It's kind of that's very much the Joker in the pack.
Is that real?
That is 100% real. There it is. It looks like famous popular singer Dame Kylie Minogue on the front there. I can't be absolute, but that is the book Fetal Attraction by Kathy Letts. So, yeah, that came with Raymond Chandler's The Big Sleep, Farewell My Lovely, The Little Sister, The Lady in the Lake, and that. Not sure what to do with it, frankly.
Oh, my gosh.
Probably not going to listen to it.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think it's my cup of tea.
Dear God, please no.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm speechless.
I mean, between this and B-Girls, it's giving you a very strange impression of what I do with my spare time.
No, I don't think it's strange at all. I think it's, speaking of bees, I did want to say that slightly like, oh no, because we did talk about this a little bit before you came on, was that, I was like, oh no, I know that Matthew J. Elliott and Eve Potter both know that I wrestle under Charlie B right there. See, look, there's proof of me in my other life. Okay, I was a little bit terrified that like they might make some kind of like third or fourth hand removed reference to Charlie B in this, and I didn't know whether to be, if it did happen, if I should be elated or embarrassed. But if it happened, I didn't catch it, so I was just like, oh well.
Every time a naked B-girl appeared, we should have had Charlie B saying, "Mom, you're embarrassing me." But it's failed. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's perfectly fine.
Oh.
I should also add that Ian just delivered our latest riff tracks today to the wonderful Casey June.
Oh, nice!
So we're like two or three ahead at the moment. So we were very surprised to get the Veil out quite so quickly.
Nice.
The Veil Part 1.
Yes, we actually talked about the Veil on the podcast yet. We just we're playing catch up. So
yeah.
I do want to say, particularly with the Riff Tracks Presents brand, I've said this on the podcast before, but it's been a while since you and me and talked directly like this. I know we talk sometimes on Messenger, but it's been about 5 years since you and I actually talked face to face. First time talking face.
That's right. Yes,
but I think that the Riff Tracks Presents brand, particularly in the last 4 or 5 years, has taken a bigger role within the company and within the brand. And I think in the last 2 or 3 years in particular, we're getting a lot more of it. We're getting a lot more from Bridget and Mary Jo. We're getting a lot more from you and Ian. And I think that's just great. If we could get more, because Riff Tracks, we all love Mike, Kevin, and Bill, even though this was the first episode of the podcast where we didn't talk about a riff by Mike, Kevin, and Bill. We talked about a riff from Bridget and Mary
this was
Jo, and
all
we talked about Invasion
Riff
of
Tracks
Beagles.
Presents.
This was all Riff Tracks Presents. So just the way that you guys are just are so much bigger now within the company, I think it's so great. And if we could just get Connor and Sean into gear and get them to do a feature, that would just be. I just really admire how you guys have just picked up the ball and are just running with it.
Yeah, well, it's been a great time, and I've had a lot of fortune in being able to write for Bridget and Mary Jo as well. So I've done a lot for them recently with Angel and a couple of upcoming things that I probably can't talk about.
Earth Angel is actually the one that we talked about.
Yeah, I wrote about 20 minutes of that. I think I did the very beginning and the very end. So I was the one who put in a very difficult line that says. I think he said Mary Jo, brackets, John Cleese in the parrot sketch impersonation, close brackets. Hey, we should register. Hey, complain. I think Bridget actually ended up saying it. I don't think Mary Jo did it in the end. Because you just don't know whether additional lines are going to be added or taken away. And so, who ends up saying which line.
Yeah. Here's my thing with Earth Angel. How the hell did they get away? Because we did the math, and Mark Hamill was 40 in this movie. How did they get away with making him a high school nerd at age 40? That makes no damn sense. Someone needs to be arrested for that.
Yeah, well, if it's in the movie, we put it in there because there is a bit during the scene where he dances with the girl, and he says, "I mean, look at me," and then the next line is, "I'm clearly 40 years old." So we got that in there. Yeah, I mean, I think Eric Estrada is the biggest offender. He really is. And why isn't he at the end of that movie?
Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah.
And who delivers the parrot? What's the story with the parrot? we never get back to the parrot. The obvious answer to the parrot issue is it's a talking animal, so clearly Alan Young has got form there. He's got history with talking animals. So I'm saying he was the one that sent it. But if it's not, how does a ghost deliver a parrot plus message? How does that work? None of the movie makes any sense. Release the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut of Angel.
Oh, man.
We need answers to all these questions for this TV movie none of us knew existed before January 23rd, 2021, when it was released as Riff Tracks Presents. Oh my God!
You say that. It turns out it's my sister-in-law's favorite movie. My wife has seen it a number of times because my sister-in-law would repeatedly rent it out on VHS and watch Earth Angel. Not Teen Angel, as it is mistaken.
You're making that up. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. Because when I showed my wife some of the movies, she said, "Seen this." She's seen this movie several times. It ends with her dancing with James Dean in the stars.
Why does she? Okay.
Yeah, we talked about how unsatisfying the ending to this movie.
Yeah, how the movie just peters out, and okay, so why in God's name does she want to dance with James Dean, but not okay, she fell in love with Luke Skywalker. Wouldn't she want to go back to Earth to make him happy and be and dance with him at the end because they fell in love in 10 minutes at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, he's got Cindy Williams now, and he gets to just wipe Eric Estrada off the sole of his shoe. It's just a waste, though. I genuinely wanted to see the setup of Eric Estrada and Alan Young just living together. Who's that at the door?
Yes. Was that your joke about them? There's little sitcom material with the two of them.
Yeah, that was me. That seemed like a missed opportunity.
I was about to say, I think it has to be.
Yeah, I think there was a line that got cut where we see Cindy Williams at the party with a very disturbed look on her face as Mark Hamill is playing the sax. And I wrote the line, she just realized that roundabout now Eric Estrada's going through her underwear drawer. So that didn't make it, alas. Perhaps for the best.
My only thought during that scene was, I hope he brought his own reed and mouthpiece for that saxophone.
Yeah.
That he took away from that guy on stage.
Well, that's why. Again, that's why the next line that comes along is there's some of my spittle on that. There are dweebs who on the internet who'll pay a fortune for that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, congratulations on being the one who got to kick off 2021 for Riff Tracks.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
When I saw you guys had that release.
Yeah, what an honor, and what a movie to start with as well, of all the films. And incredibly, because of the fact that it's a public domain movie, a really good quality cut of it as well. I mean, in terms of picture quality, not in terms of the picture, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What was it?
Totally.
Jeremy, what was the name of that riff that they did last year? They were in outer space and they were walking around and nothing happened. And it was
are you talking
Assignment Out of Space?
Assignment Out of Space. Yeah. I was just thinking about that the other night, and
I don't know why you asked me about that.
Well, I was trying because I asked you about it because we talked about it on the podcast, okay? And I'm trying to involve you a little bit in this conversation, okay?
Yeah, come on, Jeremy. I can't carry this thing alone.
Was that public domain? Because that's what made me think of it. You said public domain.
Oh my God!
And they had to sell it for like $7 because I guess the quality of the picture of it was so garbage.
Yeah, no, it was very definitely a public domain movie. I can't really work out what country that originates from, because you have an American star, Rick Van Nutter, and I say star in the loosest possible sense of the terms. He played Felix Leiter in Thunderball, the fourth Bond movie, but also. It's everybody's referred to as a cosmonaut, which would seem to imply some kind of Russian influence. But yeah, no, it's nobody wants to claim ownership of it. Definitely.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I think that is why there's nobody cares enough to find a decent quality copy of it. And this is one of the things that I really wish that I really hope that Mary Jo and Bridget will persevere with the Sherlock Holmes releases, the Basil Rathbone movies. There are, I think, 13 in all, but 4 of them are in the public domain. There's no particular reason why. Only 4 of them exist in the public domain, but those are the 4 that have been riffed so far. So I really hope that they'll persist and do the remaining however many it is.
I hope so, because those were good riffs.
Yeah, those are excellent. I think I read something, or Bridget said something. I can't remember what it was, but she said something about you recently. And she said that you oh no, wait, it wasn't Bridget or wasn't Mary Jo. Somebody said, one of those 2 fine ladies said about Matthew J. Elliott that he really, really does know his Sherlock Holmes.
That was Mary Jo, because she did it in our interview.
Yeah, no, that is true.
See, I can't even remember our own podcast.
Yeah, no, I don't claim to be an expert on much, but one of the things I am an expert on is Sherlockian cinema. And once a year, I host the film evening of the Sherlock Holmes Society of London. So I basically trace movies from all over the world. Sherlock in cinema has existed as long as cinema itself has existed. The very first Holmes movie was in the year 1900. I've seen movies from Brazil, Japan, Hong Kong, Spain, all over the world. There are astonishing Holmesian productions. In fact, just yesterday I tracked down a decent copy of the Brazilian Holmes movie that I'd seen once before, which is called On Baker Street, which translates as A Tango on Baker Street.
Oh, nice.
That could be interesting.
So I have a very specific question and then a follow-up question, and I'm going to present them as one. Who's your favorite on-screen Sherlock Holmes, and why is it Jeremy Brett?
You know what? I have written a number of books relating to Sherlock Holmes, and one day I was signing no copies whatsoever in a bookstore when a guy walked up to me, this stand that says, "Meet this impoverished author," and he said, "I suppose you would admit that Jeremy Brett is the greatest Sherlock Holmes of all time." And I said, "Well, it's a great performance. There are a lot of strange missteps towards the end of the run, a lot of poor decision making and as a consequence of that, the show really suffered in quality." And he literally just turned his back on me. He just stood there, but he turned his back on me. He didn't want to hear.
That is.
Yeah,
I was waiting for you to say that ended up being Jeremy Brett.
Back from the grave. Interesting fact about Jeremy Brett.
That's right. He's dead.
Yeah, his real surname was Huggins, and the Arthur Conan Doyle's favorite actor to play the role of Sherlock Holmes before he passed away in the year 1930. His favourite portrayal of Holmes on screen was an actor in the silent era called Eiley Norwood. Now, Eiley Norwood wasn't his real name. He took Eiley from his girlfriend Eileen and Norwood from the area of London where he lived, Norwood. But his real name was Huggins as well, and there doesn't seem to be any connection between the two of them. So that's kind of weird. So, yeah, in honor of his recent passing, I would give props to Christopher Plummer for his performance as Sherlock Holmes in the 1979 Canadian movie Murder by Decree, which is one of the best Sherlock Holmes movies, directed by the guy who made Porky's. But I would also also give praise to the actress Yuko Takeuchi, who portrayed Sherlock in the recent Japanese television series Miss Sherlock, which is frankly amazing.
What about Robert Downey Jr.?
You know, I have that. It's a very broad church. Sherlockian cinema is a very broad church. I have absolutely no problems with Robert Downey Jr., and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the third movie, which is going to be directed by Dexter Fletcher, who was the real director of Bohemian Rhapsody.
I didn't even know that there's a third movie on the way.
Yeah, no, it's happening. It's definitely happening. But Guy Ritchie will not be the director of this one. But Dexter Fletcher, because of the fact the work that he did on Bohemian Rhapsody, he started off as an actor. I think the only thing that you will ever have seen him in as an actor is the movie Doom, which is based on the computer game, stars The Rock. I think he plays characters in a wheelchair in that movie.
Yeah. Oh.
But he moved into directing, and he ended up essentially directing Bohemian Rhapsody, even though the credit goes to Bryan Singer because of union rules and things like that. And that has certainly helped his cachet to the he'll now be doing the third Holmes movie.
As long as there's not another Will Ferrell Sherlock Holmes movie.
Yeah, well, that one was in the works for a long, long time. That was announced at the same time, almost simultaneously with the first Downey movie. And the plan for that was that Ferrell was going to play Watson and Holmes was going to be played by Sacha Baron Cohen. But then, presumably, because of the fact that the Guy Ritchie movie blew up so big, and then simultaneously you had Sherlock on TV with Benedict Cumberbatch, which became a hit that surprised even the makers of the show. That didn't seem to be a point to doing it at that stage, and it's only now that things quiet down a little bit that they did it, and everybody realised that they really shouldn't have in the first place. Ferrell's kind of amazing like that. He's all in. And he's either brilliant or ghastly as a consequence of that. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen the Eurovision Song Contest movie that he's done, but it's very highly regarded over here.
Oh, on Netflix?
Yeah. Because we in England love the Eurovision Song Contest. It's a huge deal over here, and this is actually a very fond depiction of it. So it's a surprisingly sweet film. And that's the thing with Ferrell. He's either very, very good or very, very bad, and there is no in between.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the things I really like Ferrell in is a movie called Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah.
Where he's much more settled down. Like he's actually, like he's not shouting like all his lines and being an insane person. But something you said a moment ago reminded me of a story you told me once. And I kind of want, because it's Riff Tracks related. You mentioned the Benedict Cumberbatch television series. And when Riff Tracks Live came to London and Mike, Kevin, and Bill all came to hang out with you, I think you said it was either Bill or Kevin came up to you and like accosted you and be like, what happened to Sherlock? Why was the last season so bad? Like you had anything to do with it.
I said, well, essentially, yeah, because we met up in the Sherlock, which strangely enough, it does have a kind of a great comedy history. So it seemed like the perfect place to meet, because this was the tavern where the cast of Monty Python used to go back when they were involved in a radio show called I'm Sorry, I'll Do That Again. So that was a show that began with some of the cast of Python and some of the cast of another show called The Goodies that both eventually split off and went in their own directions. But they used to meet up there after their show. So that was nice to be able to sort of meet in that area. So yeah, we sat there, and as it turned out, the guys were about to go to the theatre to a production of J.B. Priestley's And Inspector Calls, which was taking place around the corner, so it was very handy. And we sat down, and Bill said, so, as a Sherlockian expert, what happened with the last episode of Sherlock? And I said, well, basically, Bill, they just pissed it down their legs, is what happened. And there really was no disagreeing with that. It completely got beyond the control of its makers. And it became more about the fans than it was about maintaining the quality of the show, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, it was Stephen Moffat, so.
Oh, speaking of that, is he the guy Moffat? Was he the guy that messed up the last episode of Dracula?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
okay.
So you can see a pattern. There is, unfortunately, Moffat is a brilliant writer, but unfortunately it becomes very plain that he doesn't plan ahead, and then things happen, and then you go, well, wait, seriously? So Dracula isn't really affected by the sun, but this has never come up in the 2,000 years of his existence.
Yeah, no, I was so mad about
He's
that.
never even put out a pinky just to see if it will burn. And also, Dracula will die if he drinks the blood of somebody who is dying. And literally, that's never come up before. It's
cancer.
All the thousands
that
of
is
victims.
so stupid.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, this is what happens.
Matthew, do you remember this last year? I said, because I'm a big Dracula guy. That's one of my favorite stories. I very much prefer the novel over, and I like radio productions. I don't think it's ever been done justice in live action, really. But that's just me. And I'm watching the first episode. I'm like this is what I've been something that I know it's not following the story. But this is great. And I sent you a message oh my gosh, I'm really enjoying this. And you sent me a message back. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad you're enjoying it. And I was like, well, he obviously is not liking it very much. And, because he's not sharing my enthusiasm. He's like, well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. And I'll be like, oh, something bad's going to happen. And then the third episode comes around, and they do their stuff on the Demeter, whatever. Okay, that stuff doesn't bother me. Even the jump to the future doesn't bother me that much. But halfway through it, all the stuff they did, I feel like they just wasted Renfield. They wasted Lucy. They wasted Seward.
Yeah,
they just wasted all this stuff that they could have done. And I don't really know what they were going for.
Yeah.
And the kicker was, okay, so Lucy dies, and not Van Helsing's great granddaughter. She has cancer, and they're like, okay, I'm going to open the windows, and it's going to reveal to you that the sunlight can't hurt you, that you're really just paranoid to go outside. Okay, so at this point, now this is what got me. Oh no, I've been wrong about everything. I'm going to kill myself. What? Your goal is to take over the world, bro.
Yeah.
You have no limits now. You can go out during the day. Why are you killing yourself?
And you're absolutely right about Renfield. The really crazy part about that is that the part of Renfield is played by Mark Gatiss, who is Stephen Moffat's co-writer on this and on Sherlock. But it almost seems like he forgot he was in it. So Renfield just pretty much vanishes from the story. He has no fate. We don't find out anything that happens to him. He just stops appearing in the story. So my particular version of it is the version that the BBC did in 1979 with Louis Jourdan, which it looks kind of cheap now, but it's probably one of the more faithful versions. And Frank Finlay is a terrific Van Helsing in it. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's maddening.
So Dave, you said it's never been done justice in live action. So that means you did not like Dracula 2000. I almost made it.
I never even saw it.
You know what?
I never even saw it.
I've seen it, and you know what? I actually kind of like it because it was done by the guy. It was the cinematographer on the Scream movies. So it was round about the period that the Scream movies were out, and there were a lot of imitations of the Scream films as well. So this is tonally similar to the Scream films. So it's Dracula by way of Scream. So, and that's not terrible. And Christopher Plummer is in it playing Van Helsing. Yeah. So that's fine.
I mean, we got Gerard Butler, Jerry Ryan.
Isn't that the one where they say Dracula's Judas Iscariot?
Yeah. That turns out to be the reason that he has sort of this it's not a fear of gold of silver. Silver will affect him adversely, and that is why, because he is Judas Iscariot.
Because of the 30 pieces of silver.
But it's fine. It's got 7 of 9 in it, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
Star Trek Picard has 7 of 9 in it, and look what happened with that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because
we don't need to bring that up again, Dave.
It's structurally not dissimilar from The Mandalorian in that we have an important mission to go on, but we need to make these few stops along the way, and yet it happens in The Mandalorian.
That's true.
Yeah.
You mean they don't hang out for 3 episodes on Earth and then just be like, and then Captain Picard becomes an idiot and 7 of 9 is like, oh, okay, you don't want me to go kill that bitch. Can I borrow these huge guns over here, please? Picard's like, sure.
But Picard, remember all the adventures we never shared together?
Yeah, they know each other. How do they know each other?
Oh man.
Anyway, listen, I'm gonna have to sign off, guys, because in England it is Shrove Tuesday, and I don't have to tell you what that means.
Yeah, you sure don't. We will Google that later.
Nope, you totally don't.
But hey, Matthew, before you go, thank you so much for invading the True Blue Riffcats, Matthew. This has just been amazing.
Yes, thank you.
Well, me and Elliott Gould and Kathy Lett, author of Fetal Attraction. Thank you for
Cunnilingus
for having us. Yeah, maybe I'll copy them to digital and just send it to you and dare you to look.
Oh man!
Thank you, Matthew.
Oh man! Well, Matthew J. Elliott, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Bye bye, folks. Bye bye.
See you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
And now we're back. Okay, cool. Yeah, now we're back. It's been 40 minutes. And you heard it. This is going to be a bear for Jeremy to edit because I don't envy him this task. But thanks so much to Matthew J. Elliott of Riff Tracks Presents.
Yeah, that was
crashing
awesome.
The True Blue Riffcast. So I think we're going to have to come up with a different title for this now. It's wow. So this is probably going to be the longest podcast we've ever done.
Yeah, because we had we were just about done with our whole
We were
episode.
really just wrapping it up. It might even be 2 episodes. I'll let Jeremy decide that because he runs everything.
Yeah.
But man, that was crazy. That was great. That was awesome. This is the best episode of the True Blue Riffcast.
Yeah. By far.
We talked about all kinds of stuff, man. It was.
And, if you enjoy the podcast and you enjoy listening, you can head over to patreon.com/trueblueriffcast and you can support us for as little as $2 a month. And actually, I'd like to thank our newest patron, Andrew Webster. Thank you, sir, for supporting us. It's much appreciated. Welcome to the family. And yeah, we drop some outtakes, some advanced looks at things, all kinds of little fun things over on the Patreon. So go check it out. And until next time, I am Jeremy.
I was going to say who you. Oh yeah. Oh okay. Yeah. I'm jumping the gun. Go ahead.
And until next time, I'm Jeremy. You can find me at pbandawesome.com. You can follow me on Twitter at pbandawesome. You can send me emails, jeremy@trueblueriffcast.com. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter at tbriffcast.
And I'm Dave Chadwick, and you can check me out on davechadwick.info. And you can go ahead and pre-order my new novel, Monkey, by a novel by Dave Chadwick on Amazon. Just go to davechadwick.info. There's a link there. You can go pre-order a novel that I, Dave Chadwick, wrote about a talking monkey, and he grants wishes, and it's gonna be great. You should all read that and tell all your friends and have them go pre-order it too. And don't tell James when. Thank you.
Until next time, guys, stay safe and be good to each other.
Thank you, Matthew.